Today's episode is sponsored by Jane, a clinic management software and EMR. The Jane team knows that when your workday is spent providing care to your patients or clients, it can feel like there aren't enough hours in the day for the rest of your admin tasks. This can mean that scheduling appointments becomes after-hours tasks, turning what should be restful evenings into extra long work days. That's why Jane has designed user-friendly online booking, so you can give your patients the freedom to book their appointments at their own convenience, whether that's after hours or on weekends. Patients can also manage their appointments, fill out intake forms, and enable SMS and email reminders from their secure online portal, which saves you from having to manually do it. To see how Jane can help you reclaim your evenings and weekends, head to jane.app to book a personalized demo. Or if you're ready to get started, you can use the code WELLNESS1MO at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new account. Hi there, and welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'm Kendall Hagenson.
And I'm Anna Rudell. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey of creating innovative, patient-centered wellness centers.
As experienced health and wellness providers, we've seen firsthand the challenges of delivering comprehensive, holistic care to our patients.
That's why we created this podcast, to share the knowledge, strategies, and insights we've gained from our own experiences and from connecting with experts in the field.
Each episode, we'll dive into a different aspect of building and growing a successful wellness center, from developing a strong multidisciplinary team to implementing cutting-edge technologies and treatment approaches.
We'll also share practical tips, resources, and real-world examples to help you overcome common obstacles and streamline your processes.
Our goal is to empower you with the tools and confidence you need to create a thriving wellness center that truly makes a difference in your patients' lives.
So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your existing practice to the next level, you're in the right place.
Get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
I'm so excited to partner with Jane App to create an 8-episode mini-series with other Jane ambassadors. This series will bring valuable conversations about clinic life and growing your practice, so you can learn from other thought leaders about what they've tried, what they've been challenged with, and why they've succeeded in their business. In the first session of 8, we sit down with Jane Ambassador Linzy Bonham to talk about how to truly invest wisely in your practice. Let's jump in. Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. Today on the show, we have Linzy Bonham. Linzy, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Linzy, you are actually our first Jane Ambassador guest. I've had other ambassadors on the show, but this is in the official capacity. We are doing a really fun 8-episode mini-series with Jane, where we have intentional chats with other Jane ambassadors. So I'm excited to have you on the show. And today we're going to really talk about money and how to invest wisely in your practice. So I'd love to start, if you could please introduce yourself to our listeners.
So my name is Linzy Bonham, and I am a therapist turned money coach. So I was trained as a social worker. I used to do complex trauma work in private practice. And then about 5 years ago, I shifted, however you want to put it, into helping other therapists with money full time. So now my business is Money Nuts and Bolts, and I run a couple courses where I help other therapists and health practitioners with the financial side of private practice, because what I figured out is that other folks don't seem to really like that part of the business very much, but I very much like it. So that is the niche I've carved out for myself, is helping therapists and health practitioners getting their business finances working for them.
Linzy, hi. It's so nice to hear you on the show here. What an incredible area to be servicing and helping other health professionals with. Thank you for that, because it is a hugely deficit area, I would say, in wellness practices. Are you comfortable sharing what the catalyst was from moving from private practice into financial coaching?
Sure. Well, at first, the catalyst was just identifying a need. So just noticing as I was in private practice and when I made that step into private practice from, agency work, because in the mental health therapy world, there's kind of like agency work, which is a certain beast. That's where you're like working for someone else, often in like a nonprofit capacity. And it's quite stressful, but you're doing kind of good work. And then there's stepping into private practice where you get to work on your own terms and you get paid much better. But that can be a scary leap. So when I made that leap myself, I noticed that a lot of my colleagues from the agency world were like, I will never go to private practice. Like, I'm so afraid of the money. I don't want to run my own business. I just want to work for somebody else. And I saw folks who were actively unhappy in the agency world, but were too scared to go into working for themselves because they didn't trust themselves to be able to like learn to understand taxes or to keep track of money or to be a business, right? So I identified that kind of difference in terms of how I related to these pieces very early on in practice. And then once my own practice became full, I guess maybe I got a little bored. I do that a lot and just started to be curious of like, hey, in addition to doing this trauma work, which is super heavy, like really, really meaningful and really rich, but also heavy on your soul, could I also help some of my colleagues with this financial piece and help them get money working? So I started doing it just off the side of my desk as a like, let's just see if people are interested in this. And I ended up creating my course, Money Skills for Therapists, in 2018 off the side of my desk when I was still full time in private practice. But it was really when I came back from a mat leave. I had a mat leave in 2019. I was off for the entire year. And when I came back from mat leave, I knew I had this opportunity to either step into this and like do the money thing full time and kind of step away from the really heavy work that I was doing and have that emotional space for my son who needs that from me. Or I could just go back into private practice full time where I already have the demand and the caseload and everything. And so that's where I really took the leap. It was that noticing the difference in how the work was sitting for me, just the lightness and the fun for me around helping folks with finances and seeing that ripple effects for therapists versus like the trauma work, which I was very good at, but which took a lot of emotional energy from me. So that was really the catalyst, was realizing my emotional energy is really finite. I have a child now. I can't actually give away as much as I used to be able to. So I'm going to try to lean into this other lighter, just as important thing. And that was my catalyst to jump full time into just doing the financial coaching.
I imagine that majority of our listeners are nodding their heads right now as they
I am.
hear that.
Yes.
It's so relatable, and so many of us are parents and mamas and business owners and have gone through that journey of how do I, serve my community and do the work that I love and still have enough capacity and parent in the way that I want to and have enough of that emotional space for the kiddos. So
absolutely.
I appreciate you sharing that. So in terms of actually investing in your practice and using your money wisely, what are those kind of top 3 to 5 strategies that are kind of your go-to core pieces that you would like to see every practice owner doing?
Yeah, I mean, the first piece, funny enough, and this is funny coming from someone who teaches courses for business owners, is the first piece is identifying which problems are actually the problems you need to solve now. Because the top thing, actually, Kendall and Anna, that I see for the folks who join my course at least, is they've invested in everything, right? It's like in business, there's so many problems to solve, right? There's like marketing and niching and how do you get your message out there? And there's how to use Instagram. And there's like so many modalities to learn, within your field. There are never ending things to learn. And what I find is most therapists and helpers and healers, we tend to be perfectionistic. We tend to notice what we don't know and always want to learn more. And so what I tend to see is folks who join my program who have put too much on their plate, right? Like they've invested in too many things. And when you invest in too many things, it's no longer an investment, it's a cost, right? Because the first thing is really identifying, what do I need right now? What do I actually need to learn right now? What is my real top problem? Is it that I don't have enough clients? Am I not retaining clients? Is it that I have a full practice, but I'm still burnt out and not making enough money? Like, what is my actual problem? And then letting yourself focus on that one problem and invest in that one problem, whether it's like a course or you're investing your energy and your focus, right? Letting yourself solve one problem at a time and being really clear with yourself of how much capacity do you have to invest and learn and grow at one time, right? Because what I will see so often, and I've done myself, is you sign up for 3 things at once, right? It's like you're in an Instagram course over here, and you're also learning this great new modality that's like really hot right now. And then over here, it's like you're taking, like a financial coaching course, or you're learning how to build a course on the side. And you can't actually do all those things at once. And then you end up feeling behind and like you're kind of failing at all of them. And ultimately, you don't get the value out of the money. So that's the first thing. My first tip for investing is identify what is really a problem and work on that one problem first. And then number 2, maybe I'll do 2 in 1 here, identify your capacity, right? Like how many things can you actually really work on in 1 year and let yourself move at that pace, the pace of actually being able to get things done rather than kind of throwing your money at all of the problems at once and then seeing yourself make no progress and spin your wheels, which is a terrible, terrible feeling that we've all had at various times.
Yeah, I think it's such a common experience. And when you were talking about like, okay, I'm going to do this financial course here, and then I'm going to do this Instagram course here, and then I'm going to sign up for this, preset coaching module over here.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, you're just back in grad school and you can't integrate any of the information.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's too much information. And then you're working full time with clients in your practice. And when are you actually going to integrate and truly learn how to do that? And that's where that, really carving out consistent time to work on your business is so, so important, especially when it comes to money and how you're using your money and how you're making more money and all the things.
Yes, absolutely. Like there's 2 things that come to mind when you say that. One is move at the speed of integration, right? So work on things at the speed that you can actually absorb them, right? So for me, for instance, when I was doing complex trauma therapy, there's so much to learn and there's so many cool things and experts you can learn from. But I really realized that I could really do like probably one like major training a year and maybe one conference. And then I could be in like one consulting group and that's it. Once I started to add on those other trainings, like the one-offs from the celebrity therapist people who would come through talking about XYZ, I couldn't absorb it because I was still trying to kind of absorb and apply what I learned 2 weeks before at the previous workshop that I attended. So moving at that speed of integration allows you to actually get benefit from what you are investing in and what you're working on. You can actually see progress, which feels so good. But then the second thing I'm thinking is move at the speed of cash. And that's a concept that was just introduced to me by a brilliant colleague of mine, Julie Harris, who wrote Profit First for Therapists. She's an accountant who works with therapists. And it's like, also move at the speed of that cash flow. So there are definitely times in our businesses where we need to stick our neck out and be like, the money's not here, but I'm going to really commit and I'm going to invest in myself and I'm going to show up. And that's what I call being in an investment period. And sometimes we need to do that, right? Sometimes in our business, we're just like, right now, my rent is more than I make from clients. That's how it is. But I'm really going to show up and build the business and make it work. But generally speaking, once you kind of are at cruising altitude and you've built your practice, moving at the speed of cash means that you're also not buying things that you can't afford yet. And then that feels even worse if you don't get the benefit from them, because now not only did you not get the benefit, but you've paid money that you didn't have yet. And now you have a debt hanging over your head. So those 2 pieces of like moving at the speed of integration and moving at the speed of cash allow you to really get the benefit from the things you're investing in. It makes those things investments rather than ending up wasting money in your practice and feeling really bad about it.
I love the perspective of the courses being an investment and prioritizing what you need to do in your business as an investment. And when you're speaking, I think of employees or adding people to your team, moving at the speed of cash, thinking, okay, right, well, now I need to add this specialty to the team because I'm not capable of doing the marketing or the Instagramming or whatever it is. I love that perspective. Thank you, Linzy. Speaking of adding people to the team, can you speak a little bit about Jane and the financial insights that one can get for team? Do we need to have a specialist come into our practices to look at the insights, or is it fairly self-explanatory for business owners?
So I would say one of the things that I do love about Jane is the clarity of the financial information that you get, right? And so as a business owner, Jane is giving you the financial information that you need to make strategic decisions, right? And to be able to see what's happening. If you have a team, like if you're running a group practice, for instance, Jane gives you the information you need to see, are your folks performing? Are they fulfilling the agreement that they have with you? Are they actually collecting payment from their patients, right? Are they getting a bunch of cancellations? All of that information is in front of you, but the financial reports I especially love because I'm a big fan of financial reports in general, gets my heart going because they're so clear, right? Being able to look at how many sales did we have last week, right? How much money came in? How does that compare to the number that I usually see in a week? Was it higher? Was it lower? If so, is there a reason for that, right? Being close to your numbers is the first step to being able to manage them competently and confidently. And with the reports in Jane, one of the beautiful things is once you create a bit of flow around that of like, okay, every Monday morning I sit down and I check the financials from the week before, you get very clear numbers that show you, is everything going as planned? Is something wrong or off? Is something weird? Am I not getting paid back by insurance companies? If you're billing to insurance companies, the information is there to help you make sure that everything is going as it should. And what you do need is you need to have the financial literacy to understand those reports. So for some folks, that's going to come naturally and they're going to look at the reports and be like, oh, yeah, this makes total sense. For other people, you might want to do a little bit of learning and growing so that you can understand and think about those numbers strategically. But that is one of the great things is I think our numbers should not be opaque to us as business owners. We shouldn't have to wait, till the 15th of the next month for our bookkeeper to tell us what happened. And with the income side being reported in Jane, we do get to see in real time, like what is happening with those numbers and make action and take action in real time, which is what we need to do as business owners to keep our businesses healthy.
I'm all for hiring a bookkeeper.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
1000%.
Yeah.
But I appreciate what you said. And I've learned this, over the years, especially in the early years. It's really, really important that we understand the numbers and we're not afraid of the numbers before we hire a bookkeeper.
Yes.
We have to be able to train the bookkeeper.
Yes.
On how to interpret what's going on in our business. Especially if you have a group practice or a multidisciplinary wellness center. A lot of our listeners are wellness center owners.
Yeah.
And if you have multiple different disciplines, you have to be able to really set up the bookkeeper for success so that they can set you up for success in getting the information that you need at the end of the day, right? Or the end of the year or whatever it is. We have a multidisciplinary practice here at our clinic. And so we often use these reports to be able to really see like which modality is doing what, right? So if we want to look just from a financial perspective, okay, is acupuncture bringing in more than massage? Okay, why is that? Is it just because we have a bigger acupuncture team?
Yes.
Or is it because of gaps in the system? And then, okay, well, we had X amount of bookings, but the retention is 80% and our other modalities have a 95% retention. So where's the gap in the system? So where we mostly use the reports aside from, okay, yes, this needs to be sent to the bookkeeper to, have everything in order is planning forward for our company, for our business. And these reports help us with hiring decisions. They help us with training and performance on the team. There's so much information that you can gather. And I think a lot of business owners in the healthcare space, right, we grab an EHR because we need one.
Yes.
But we're not really thinking about how can we actually use this to optimize my practice. And I think that is something that Jane does really well is they really care about the community of providers and the patients who are being served by those providers. But they also care about their customers who are us, right? As practitioners, they care about our businesses and they want us to be able to optimize what we're doing.
Yeah. And what you're talking about there, I think is a really important distinction between the task of bookkeeping, right? Like somebody just making sure everything is nice and tidy for tax purposes and like sales tax has been, recorded properly. That's the difference between the task of bookkeeping and financial leadership, right? And what you're talking about is financial leadership. It's
Mhm.
you, whether you're in solo practice and you are your own employee, right? And like that's your practice, or whether you have a wellness center and you have 8 folks working for you from different modalities, it is you showing up and being with your numbers and saying, I'm responsible for this. I am going to like learn what I need to learn to be able to understand this information and make good decisions with it. And sometimes what I notice is when we are not empowered around finances, when health practitioners and therapists or healers are afraid of finances, we try to outsource to bookkeepers because we want to get rid of the responsibility. We're like, oh, well, my bookkeeper's got it. And I will tell you, the unfortunate part of that is bookkeepers are busy. And if you're not showing any interest in your numbers, and if you're not asking them questions, and if you're not asking for your reports, when they're going to fall behind on somebody's numbers, it's going to be yours, right? Because they're like, well, she doesn't care. I'll just get her numbers for the end of the year, right? And so you don't actually end up getting the information that you need in a timely basis. But also, as you say, like they can't tell you what the numbers mean. You need to help them understand what information you're looking for and how it should be presented so you can make good decisions. You can outsource the task, but you can't outsource the responsibility. At the end of the day, it's your business. You're the financial leader, and nobody else can do that for you unless you get to the point where you're at, a 6-figure business and you have a fractional CFO that you pay at $100,000 a year. That's the
Exactly,
point when
right?
you really are bringing in an expert. Before that, the expert has to be you.
Yeah. If you expect your bookkeeper to give you like budgets and projections forward and help you with visioning and help you with, hiring decisions, that is not
Mm-mm.
what a bookkeeper is going to
Mm-mm.
do, and you're going to be disappointed.
Yes.
And so most of the time what you're thinking about is a CFO
Yes.
type of role or fractional CFO. And
yes.
that is you.
Yes.
That is you in most of these scenarios.
Yes.
And it's really important that you have a pulse on your numbers so that you
Absolutely.
can budget forward, or else you'll, wake up one day and realize you don't have enough money.
Yes. And that happens, especially with groups, right? With wellness
Yeah.
centers is like, you've got payroll. Payroll can be a lot of money. And if something has happened and the money is not flowing, many, many, many folks wake up in that situation of realizing like, I do not have the money for payroll. That's a bad, bad day.
Mm-hmm. We've all had that fear, right, Lindsay?
Yes.
We've all had those middle of the night fears that this month is going to be the month. Lindsay, do you have any resources for practice owners who might want to learn some basic skills about the financial aspect of a business or starting a business or running a business? Because it is not intuitive to many of us.
No, it's not. I have many, 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 Anna. But I'm going to mention 2 because I think there's 2 different types of folks probably listening. The first one is I have a masterclass. This is for folks in solo practice. So if you are, your own employee, you're a business of one, the masterclass is called the 4-Step Framework to Getting Your Business Finances Totally in Order. I always joked that mental health therapists, we are not succinct. We do not know how to be concise. So
It's a beautiful title.
Thank you so much. It really catches all of it. And in that masterclass, it's a video workshop. I walk through the biggest mistakes that health practitioners make when we're trying to get our money working for us. I walk through my 4-step framework that I've used to help. At this point, I think we're at 650 graduates from my course, Money Skills for Therapists, get their money working for them. And I talk about my own story of going from being kind of like the secondary earner in my household, like kind of making a wifey income would be the phrase that some people would use, to being the solo earner, right? And carrying my family, which I find is the situation actually of lots of folks who are attracted to me, is they are the one carrying their household. Like this is not a hobby. This is serious. So the link for that, I'm sure we can share in the show notes. So it's called the 4-Step Framework to Getting Your Business Finances Totally in Order. But the other resource that I have that would be relevant for folks who are running a group is I have a guide for group practice owners called How to Stop Feeling Overworked and Underpaid in Your Group Practice. So it very much gets to the point of things. So that's for folks who feel like they're working harder than ever in their group practice, worry about money, feel that weight of paying not only themselves and their team, and people who are ready to take action to become the empowered financial leader of their business. So that's a free guide. And when folks get that guide, you'll also get in my world so you can hear about Money Skills for Group Practice Owners, which is my course specifically for group practice and wellness centers.
Amazing. All of those links will be in the show notes. Lindsay, last question for you.
Yes.
If we have providers listening who are about to start their business for the first time, what's the one thing that you would really encourage them to do financially?
Yes.
as they're starting?
Boundaries. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. So setting up that separate business bank account. It can seem so foundational, but what I find is a lot of folks end up kind of starting their business on the side. They're working somewhere else. They start seeing a couple clients. Money's coming to their personal bank account. Create that separation. So have your separate business bank account. If you want to start to move into like being able to have real clarity in your money, you can have a few business bank accounts where like money comes in and it flows, but keep your personal and business finances separate. And make sure that all the payments coming into your private practice go into that business bank account. Only take money out of that bank account as a paycheck. Pay yourself paychecks. Don't just take money from there. Start to get into a flow of like, I am paying myself. Creating that clarity, I have found if you do literally nothing else about organizing your business finances, even if you don't start tracking or budgeting, that puts all your money in one place. And it means at the end of the year, you can look in one place and see this is what happened in my business. This is what I spent. This is what I made. It saves you so many headaches and it creates so much clarity in what is happening in your business. So that separate business bank account is step number one.
Awesome.
Wise words, Linzy.
Yeah, I think Anne and I would totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Linzy, it's just been such a pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been lovely talking with you both.
Thank you, Linzy. Thank you for tuning in to the Wellness Centre Creators podcast. We hope you found this episode informative and valuable.
If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and leaving a rating and review. Your support helps us reach more health and wellness professionals like you.
For additional resources, show notes, and more episodes, visit our website at wellnesscentrecreators.com.
We'd love to connect with you and hear your thoughts, experiences, and questions. Feel free to reach out to us through our website or social media channels.
Once again, thank you for listening. We appreciate your dedication to providing exceptional patient care.
Join us next time as we continue exploring the world of wellness center creation. Until then, take care and keep making a difference.
Thanks for listening to the Wellness Centre Creators podcast.